Free solo climbing only allows room for one mistake. When one climbs without ropes or any other safety gear at a certain height, one slip is all it takes to hurtle to the ground at a fatal speed. Here are 5 more climbers who unfortunately didn't make it when free soloing. First on this list is Austin Howell, who is a notable free solo climber from the United States who frequently posted various solos on social media. Austin would regularly ascend 512 routes without a rope, like the Route Dalai Lama in Denny Cove, Texas, which is a 512c route. He would say that soloing isn't just a rare occurrence, but his way of life, helping him to overcome mental health struggles. It was also said that the Illinois resident would spend more time climbing without a rope than with one. But on Sunday, June 30th, 2019, Austin was making his way up an unconfirmed route on the Shortoff Mountain in Linville Gorge, North Carolina, which is a remote location of the Pisgah National Forest. He fell 80 feet to the ground after something went wrong on the way up. It's unconfirmed whether it was a loose hold or a slip that led to his fall. Austin was only 31 years old. Next on this list happened very recently. Bailey Mulholland was a Boulder native and was known for a vibrant personality, boundless energy, and passion for running and climbing. Recently, she had achieved her goal of climbing an impressive 513A route and still holds the women's fastest known time on the first flat iron at 41 minutes and 6 seconds, set in November last year. She was able to dedicate more time to outdoor activities like climbing after being laid off from a software engineer role in the recent big tech layoffs last spring while she searched for more work. On July 9th of this year, Bailey tragically passed away after a fall on Blitzen Ridge, which is a 5-4 route in Rocky Mountain National Park. She was climbing with a partner on the narrow and exposed ridge traverse to the summit of Ypsilon Mountain, moving through 4 sub-peaks called the Four Aces, representing the crux of the climb. At some point here, she slipped and fell 500 feet down the mountain. Bailey was only 26 years old at the time of this heartbreaking accident. Our next climber is Michael J. Ibarra, who was an American from LA who is also a journalist and author. He was the extreme sport correspondent for the Wall Street Journal, providing a wider audience to activities within the genre. After a trip to Peru in 2004, Michael took his climbing lessons, which got him quickly hooked on the sport and adventure it contained. He loved climbing, traveling, hiking, and kayaking across the world. This gave him the opportunity to publish a number of pieces for the Wall Street Journal from 2007 onwards. On June 30th, 2012, Michael was reported missing for not returning his friends' calls and texts after leaving to climb the 12,000-foot Matterhorn Peak in Sawtooth Ridge alone free solo. Michael was found on the side of the mountain, and it was concluded that he fell 50 to 200 feet to his death. Michael's sister Suzanne said that he died doing what he loved most. Our next story is that of Dwight Bishop, who was another American free climber from Georgia originally. He had received significant recognition from the climbing community in making ascents of very difficult routes that were especially taxing, notably the Eiger Peak in the Bernese Alps. Later, Dwight became a guide in the Teton Range of the northwestern United States, where he dedicated a lot of time to climbing, and among those climbs, free solos. He was so invested in the sport that he would even make some of these ascents during the winter, which is a much riskier and challenging time of year. However, it was the summer on July 16, 2004, where Dwight would fall 1,000 feet off the Grand Traverse climbing route of the Grand Teton while making a ropeless ascent. His body was found after a 2-day search, and many climbers were surprised at his death, given the amount of experience he had on the Grand Teton climbing routes that were well within his skill range. And our last tribute on this list goes to the British climber Jimmy Jewell. Jimmy was born in 1953 in South Wales and spent much of his early years climbing quarries around the town of Ferndale. After his family had moved to Birmingham, England, Jimmy became a member of the Birmingham Cave and Crag Club, making some notable first ascents like the Fly Trap in Gogarth, Wales. He was featured in a video of classic 1980s UK climbers called Total Control, where he was shown climbing a route called Left Wall in Snowdonia, which for the film he climbed free solo for an astonishing 6 times. Jimmy racked up a number of other free solo climbs, like the Axe, which is a 6A rated climb, and the Great Wall, another 6A. It was Halloween of 1987 where tragedy would strike. Jimmy was returning to his climbing hut by ascending free solo the Poor Man's Pootery, a moderately rated 5-6 route in North Wales. It features 3 pitches, and he was only using sneakers instead of climbing shoes. The route is also known for being damp. Jimmy ended up slipping and falling to his death at some point on the route that day. His legacy is entrenched in the climbing world today, even having a breakfast named after him in Pete's Eats, a climbing cafe in North Wales. While free solo climbing strikes shock and awe in most of us watching, it is super important to remember the risks associated with such a style of climbing. No matter how confident one may feel about a route, it is never worth risking one's life by climbing without a rope. Our hearts go out to the families of these fallen climbers.